What's up guys, welcome back to the Melly Rod channel. Today I have a very beautiful guest, my mentor, Krystal.
People need to stop calling me mentor. It makes me feel old as shit. I've had like 3 people call me a mentor this week and I was like, bro, well, it's okay. No, go on.
She is my mentor at the end of the day. So this is Krystal, and we were in a sorority together, and that's actually how we met, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
A minute ago.
A minute.
It was a minute.
Alright, Krystal, so today I am going to be asking you a little bit of personal questions.
Okay.
Like I've always told my guests, if you don't feel comfortable answering the questions, you don't have to. Hope you're able to answer all of these. And
I got you.
If you can't, it's okay. So we're going to start off with, what's your name, what are your pronouns, and where are you from?
Oh, dang, the hard one.
The hard one. This is the hardest one.
I got you. So my name is Krystal Hill. Krystal Hill. See? Got me. Got me with the hard one. It's already hard. Dang. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I like to say I'm born, raised, and educated in the Valley.
Okay, curious.
I was born in Van Nuys and grew up in North Hollywood and went to all of the fabulous LUSD schools out there.
The next question I have for you is, how do you identify yourself when it comes to your sexuality?
Gayer than a bucket of wigs.
Wow, I like that.
Because they, like, you think about it, picture it. I think it's nice.
It's like different personalities.
Yeah. And then just like a bucket of discarded wigs, you're like, oh, that's pretty gay.
Yep, that's me.
That's me.
At what age did you realize you were part of the LGBTQ community?
Ooh, what age? Hold on, I gotta do some math. How old am I now? I don't like thinking about my age because it's a lot of work, and I went to an LUSD school, so I didn't get the math I needed. So I usually say like I'm 35 plus or minus 5, but I'm gonna do the actual math for you. This is 2022, so I'm 34. Okay. Someone's gonna be like, nah, bitch, you 33. It's okay, I'm 34. I think I knew young. I wouldn't be able to say what age. I don't remember a lot of childhood.
Yeah,
it's a trauma. But it was pretty young.
Okay.
Granted, I went to school in like the 90s and the early 2000s, and it wasn't fun to be like out, but I was.
Wow.
So there was that. I had like my first girlfriend at like 16. Okay. So I would say I've always known. Like you always know.
Yeah.
But I'm not like 3 out there like, yeah, that bitch fine. Like, no, we ain't doing that.
Kind of like what everyone knows.
Right?
Okay.
It's like this universal experience.
Yeah, like, okay, nobody knows what I do. Alright, so the next question is, at what age did you feel comfortable coming out if you told like your family members or even your friends?
This is what people get real mad at me for this, and by people I mean my fiance. I don't have a coming out story because I dress like this. Yeah, and so people are just like, gay. They know. Oh, they're just like, even they don't care. People don't care. they care now, like more now, but back then they're just like, nah, gay. But I had my first girlfriend at 16, so I was like in the balls of high school, just out and doing gay shit and marching band, which went hand in hand. Don't know why. I've never had to like come out to people. My mother didn't care. Like, not just she didn't care because she's a cool person. She just didn't care because she's, for reasons.
For reasons.
Good for her. She's great. But yeah, it was never like are you? Because we need to have, but I had such hopes and dreams for you. Like I don't have that story. I'm glad in a lot of parts, obviously, because it's just like that's a lot of work. Yeah. And a lot of disappointment and a lot of trauma that I'm glad that I didn't have to add on to, other traumas.
Right.
Being masculine presenting helps that.
It does.
And this is, now I look at it, I'm like, this is how I dressed in high school. I wore a black t-shirt and jeans every single day for 4 years. Partially because I was poor, but also because it's what I wanted to wear.
Yeah. It's what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's not like you're gonna wear a dress tomorrow and shit.
Girl. They'd be expensive.
Yo, facts.
Well, feminine clothes, presenting, that shit, like my t-shirt at Old Navy costs like $9. And then meanwhile, someone's getting a romper and it's like, oh, it's a $42 romper. And I'm like,
that shit.
That's just a sewn shirt and pants
Facts
together. I'm like, at Old Navy you can get those 2 things separate and sew them together yourself for like $13. It was young, to answer your question. I'd never had the experience.
Okay. Well,
personally, that way.
Yeah. That's good then.
I'm not mad about it.
Right. Could have been worse.
It could.
Facts. So
I'll take what I can get. Yeah.
Definitely. Growing up, did you ever face challenges when people found out about your sexuality?
See, and this will be like I don't know if I was challenged. It probably, like, in retrospect, if I think about the situation and it happened to someone else, I'd been like, that's bullshit. The thing with also just the classes I was in like high school, I was also the only black kid. because I was taking a lot of AP classes, and I was on like a track, because we had tracks back then, because our school was overpopulated. But even on the track I was on, there wasn't a lot of black people. So like I got, because you have a lot of old white teachers, and they're just like, oh well, you can speak for black people, because they're black people here, and we need a black opinion. And I'm like, I am 16, sir. I can't speak for all black people. Right. So I had that, and then I had that like in high school a bit too with teachers, where they're just like, well, you're out. And there weren't a lot of out kids back then. Yeah. There was no GSA when I was in high school. I can count maybe 3 people who were out, as opposed to where I look at now and I'm like, all you bitches. Let me struggle by myself. All my life I had to fight. So yeah, I mean, that was like the one challenge, is like that expectation that you can speak for a whole community, which still happens obviously if you're like the only in a room, and it's just like, but at 15, 16, it's a little fucked up. I once got an A in an English class, and his note was, thanks for keeping it real. And I'm just like, that's a little problematic. But like today, the only issues I've had, and I've had this conversation somewhere with someone. I work in radio, I work in podcast. Some of the jobs I've gone for have been like really female-facing companies, and I know that I didn't get the job because I don't present femininely enough for people. Right. Not based on skill, because I saw the people they hired, and I was just like,
you're like,
come on now, I know them. And so like that's been weird for me. So I'm just like, really? And I'm like, y'all don't even need to see me. I'm not the person talking. I'm not like just like, let me edit. So that's like been one situation where I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. But outside of that, no, not too much.
I know you brought up the whole like work thing. That's actually my next.
I do work.
That's actually my next question.
Gotcha.
So, as a person that works in the entertainment industry,
yes,
do you tend to not mention you're part of the LGBT community, or do you make it known?
Oh, I make it known.
Okay, why so?
It's a part of who I am, right? Granted, it's not a part that's like outward facing, like my skin color.
Right.
But it's very much a part of who I am, and a lot of my ideas and perspectives is based on living as like a gay woman, and not telling people seems weird. Yeah. I mean, I get it if you're not in a safe space to do so, and I've known people who don't. But for me, it's just like, I'm not going to be bothered that much. Yeah. If the job doesn't work out, I'll find more work. I'm good at working. I'm never afraid that I'm not going to be able to work. But to have to like hide things, it seems odd. Yeah, it seems odd. Now, granted, I'm not out here being like with my rainbow shawl, just like flapping in the wind. But I'm not also, just pretending I'm something I'm not. Like people ask, I'm in a relationship, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm dating this girl who I'm now engaged to. I'm not dating other girls. I'm not dating other girls.
We're getting that right?
Like I'll tell people, like, yeah, my girlfriend and I went to this place. My fiance and I just went to Palm Springs in the summer. It's a great idea. I'm not gonna like hide that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm also in a place of privilege where I'm allowed to do that. I'm very good at what I do, and I've been in the industry at this point long enough. But I've been doing it for like 5-6 years. I've been doing it long enough where I know that I can, if it was an issue, I could find work somewhere else.
Right. The next questions are gonna be a bit emotional.
Oh.
Okay, these are the fun ones.
All right, girl. Hold on. Let me get my tissue. Don't give me Oprah crying in this bitch. It's all right.
This is actually we're gonna be talking about your grandmother.
Oh, damn.
I know that your grandmother made a huge impact in your life. Did you ever get the chance to come out to her? If so, how did she react?
I don't think I did, because I think by the time that we were ready to have that conversation, she knew. Let me make something explicitly clear. This church-going woman from Okmulgee, Oklahoma knew. But I think before we could have like a formal conversation, the dementia had already set in. By the time the dementia set in, conversations were meaningless. Yeah. Not meaningless. I like going for it, but like having that conversation, knowing that it wasn't gonna do anything but bring stress probably to her, and then she's not gonna remember it. It seemed unnecessary. Right. With everything else going on. But she knew. That woman knew. We would be driving. She used to take me driving a lot of places because I didn't have a car. My mother couldn't afford a car. We were poor. No, we were po. Couldn't afford that car, but we were real poor. So she used to take me driving, and she'd go, so do you like girls? And I'd be like, I don't like anyone. Because at the time it was true. I just didn't care for people. And she's like, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, I know it's okay. And then we'd go back and she'd point out something that she like audited somebody because she worked for the IRS, and she'd go, I taxed them. And I'm like, thanks, Grandma. But no, like having the formal conversation that you think of when you're looking at like the Lifetime movie, where it's just like, Grandma, I have something to tell you. What, grandchild? And like we didn't have that.
How have you been feeling after her passing?
Easy question with a complex answer. With dementia and Alzheimer's specifically, you start to grieve real early. because the person you once knew no longer exists. You slowly see them slipping away. So it's like this really long, painful grief period where the things that I knew her to be were no longer true.
Right.
So like that was weird. And so like when she died and it was just like a traumatic way of finding her, like that sucked. That was terrible. I was in a terrible place. Because it's finals week and I was graduating the week after.
Oh,
yeah, maybe that about a bitch. I don't want to say she didn't plan. She did plan. The problem was the place that she had planned with no longer existed. And no one like bought the assets, so she didn't really actually have a plan. I didn't find this out till after she died, obviously, because you try to bury someone, it's real expensive. So like the financial burden of that and having to deal with that, because I took care of that, that was hard. And like when you're in it, it's very numbing. Because you don't have time. I didn't have time to be sad.
Right.
I had to figure out 500 things to take care of, like the end of what was her life. And the funeral industry, the funeral like service industry is a whole fucking scam.
Definitely.
It's a whole scam. I'm like, this is cost more than sending a child to college to put her in, a plot in the ground. And after that, I dealt with a lot of guilt. Dealt with a lot of guilt for not being there, like, at the end. And, like, not getting able to say goodbye. Like, that shit sucks. And that, like, led to a lot of terrible decisions. One really great decision, which was ending that terrible marriage. But also a lot of really bad decisions. But I think that's kind of how grief works, right? You're in it, and when you're in it, you don't see the out. And then eventually, with time, things get better, which is such a stupid thing to tell people. Like, don't tell people that.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of the other thing. Is like, when you're in grief and you're grieving, people come out of the woodwork with, like, their favorite, like, book, their favorite saying. And a lot of it's, like, useless ass sayings, too. They'll pick up random Bible verses that have nothing to do with anything, and I'm just like, this doesn't help me.
Facts.
So, yeah, it was real hard.
Yeah,
it was real hard. And we are now 5 years out, and like, I miss her every day. Because I can hear her, like, laugh. She had a real loud, boisterous laugh. And I miss, like, being able to tell her things. Because she was from the South and very country in a lot of ways. And she had, like, the weirdest resolutions to things. And I kind of just miss, like, that's not going to work, but I like to hear it. And I miss the things she didn't get to see me do. Because she didn't get to see me get my BA. She didn't get to see me get my master's degree. She didn't get to see me have a good job. Because I worked at Target for a real long time. But, like, she didn't get to see, like, the success. And I think that's kind of the kicker for me. It's like, damn, you didn't get to see me do, like, all the cool shit.
I wanted to do.
You didn't get to see me do anything fun. Like, you just in it for the struggle. So, yeah, it's like, it's a journey. But grief's a journey, right? I work on a podcast with two fabulous people who I love dearly. Work on a lot of podcasts with people that I thoroughly love. But this specific one with Karika and Felicia, they talk about grief a lot. And it's just like, they say it's the greatest form of love. And it's like, well, yeah, it'd be weird, right? If you were just like, dope, thanks, deuces, and then just go back to your life.
And not remember.
And not feel anything.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, there were still moments where I'm just like, damn, that would have been cool. 5 years out, I'm pretty okay.
I remember when I think it was something to do with the sorority. You were not doing good, man.
Oh no,
you were not doing good. I was like, damn, because I didn't know how to come up to you, to see how you were doing, because I was already in my own shit, So it's like,
I remember where you were.
How are we? Like I wish we could have communicated more, with a lot of shit that we both were going through, and I wish I was there for you more, So
I think I get a lot of that from people when they're just like, dang, I really wish, and it's just like, but that's okay, because I knew, and I'd like to think people have enough consciousness to know that if I really needed something, that if I asked you to be there, you'd be there. And I think that's the thing. It's like making sure that the people you love know that you're there for them. And now it's easier. It's much easier being there for people when you have like time and income, because you realize just everyone struggles with shit, and being there can be as simple as a check-in. It can be as simple as sending a cute dog picture. It can be as simple as ordering them food and getting them groceries, and just the simple shit that you can't think of when you're trying to figure out how to bury this person, or how just any moment of just like undue stress. I remember what you were going through at that time, and so I've never went and sat down and been like, damn, Melissa really done fucked up. He wasn't there for me at all. Fuck that bitch. Like, it was never a thought in my mind.
Yeah. Do you believe her passing affected you when you were at work or even at school? And how did you cope with her loss?
Well, school was almost done.
Right.
Like, so, no. Because I had already finished all my finals and I was graduating the next week. Work, surprisingly enough, no. Because for me and my brain, it was very much just like, well, I'm at work right now, so I'm going to work. Because these people don't give a shit. These people don't give a shit that something's going on. All they care about is from 3 to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, this show's on the air.
Right.
And if this show's not on the air, they're going to find someone who's going to make sure this show's on the air. I actually went to work the day of her funeral. I went to work. And then I came back and worked afterwards, too. Work's always been easy for me. Work is just like, but I don't know if it really affected like me that way. And I guess that's probably a good thing. Got things to do.
Yeah, I
got
get
bills to pay.
Bills to pay. That's what it is.
Shit.
I know that for a fact.
Ooh.
Okay. What memory always pops up in your head when you think about your grandma?
It depends on what I'm doing. Because it's not like I sit around and be like, man, let me think about grandma for a minute.
Right.
It's always like in the middle of doing something. Usually it's when watching TV and I'm watching something that she liked to watch. When the dementia got bad and like when it was Alzheimer's, it got a little weird. But we would watch the Golden Girls.
Okay.
She like was always tickled by the Golden Girls. But of course with Alzheimer's, you just keep repeating the same thing. And so she'd go, oh, Rose is so funny, and like laugh. And then like 6 minutes later say the same thing. Who is that? Is that Rose? She's so funny. And so like I remember her laughing during certain things when I watched those shows. Those are probably the memories that pop up like the most. She was also a bit of a bullshitter and would tell these stories that there were no way they were true. Like science would say that this is physically impossible. But I remember her like telling the story. So she would tell this story of me being like 2 years old and I was living with my grandmother for reasons. It was my birthday. And there used to be balloon shops. I don't know if you know, you could buy, it was just a shop of balloons. And she brought home some balloons and she said, I handed you the balloons and the balloons took you right up in the air. And I'm like, oh, how? Like as a child, I was like, no way. Because again, I didn't go to the greatest schools. But as an adult, I'm just there is no way that these balloons lifted me up in the air. But she was so happy to tell that story. Every year she'd give me balloons for my birthday. That's why I got this fancy balloon tattoo. Because it's just those moments of pure joy. And it brought her joy. Her life was difficult. She was a black woman in the South, born in 1938. So if a silly story of balloons lifting me up in the air and me believing it brought her joy, I was gonna be like, you right, Grandma, every single time.
That's cute.
Isn't it? That's the cutest fucking story.
Too. I love the tattoo.
All my tattoos are meaningful.
After her passing, was there any lesson you learned, or did it change your perspective in life?
Burying someone's fucking expensive. Everyone needs to have a plan for when they die, because it's a racket and it's upsettingly expensive. You can't think about it when you're grieving. That was the biggest lesson, like the most practical one, because of course I'm going to go to the practical lesson first. After that, I sit and think about time a lot. But one thing that really fucking annoys me is when people waste my time, because time is the only resource I can't get back. I'll make more money, I'll get more stuff, I'll buy more food. You took my energy drink, that's a little upsetting because I need that to live, but I can get another one. I can't get back time. And I think about like the time that you could spend, that you didn't spend, that you did spend. I got this really beautiful, it's a real beautiful blue pearl headstone, right? Real expensive. The funeral lady, she's like, we were searching through the book and like, oh, you should pick this one. This one's really pretty. This looks great in the light. She's like, well, it's your last investment in grandma. And I'm like, girl, that's really funny because I'm in a really terrible space, but you shouldn't say that to me. She's like, yeah, no one else has found that funny. I'm like, yeah, because it's a terrible thing to tell people. But when you think of time, and you think of time now, and some people think of time, you have your birth date, right? You have your death date, and you have a dash. And your dash, as small as it is, that's your life, right? And so, after getting through some of the like terrible grief, it's just like, well, what am I gonna do with this dash? Small as shit. And now I'm like realizing like, oh yeah, this ain't shit. How am I gonna utilize that? Am I doing things that make me happy? Am I doing what I want to do? Am I where I want to be? Where do I want to be? All those fucking existential questions. Look, I am of the Spice Girls generation. Existential dread is part of my lifestyle. But like that,
Yeah.
Like time. Why am I spending time on these things? Maybe I shouldn't spend time on these things.
I think when you have someone that really meant a lot to you and they pass, it's true. You know, that's the first thing you think about. It's timing. It's like, I'm spending my time with the right people? Am I really? You know? So it is definitely a good question.
Losing that person that you love most in the world, that'll fucking change your life like that. And I'm just like, damn. You're a dumb bitch. What the fuck have you been doing?
I don't know if this has happened to you, but with me, like when I lost my friend, I started separating myself from people that were toxic to me. I left those people behind and started being around the people that I actually love and that love me back, you know, regardless of, you know, the shit that I've gone through or they've gone through. But yeah, I think time is definitely something that I've seen that is very important now.
Why spend time with people that you don't like or people that don't really care for you in the way that you think they do? Because that's the fun thing about people. People really show how much they care about you pretty close to off the bat. And I don't know if I would say I separated myself from people. I would say that I also was just not a fun person to necessarily be around in that period of time. Because that was just a grief I wasn't prepared to deal with at that time. But it was definitely more for me like, what does joy look like for me after this? I still don't have the fucking answer. I'm getting pieces of it.
Right.
Like, I know part of it is getting out of the valley because it's hot. And I'm just like, it's 70 degrees here now. And, you know, I'm talking to people in the valley. It's like, yeah, it was death. And I'm like, great. You know, I have someone I love, you know, that I want to spend the rest of my life with, which is like wild. She ain't here. It's okay. I'm not going to let her conflate her ego anymore. I talk to the people I want to talk to. I don't talk to the people I don't want to talk to. Because I have a really great dog, and I do. He's on a shelf over there now. But, you know, it's pieces. And I don't think trying to figure out your big picture in the middle of it is going to lead to a real janky picture. Because you'll think you'll have, you know, your puzzle set, and you're like, yeah, that's a completed puzzle. But you look real closely at it, and you're like, this is supposed to be a puzzle of flowers. There's like 5 Legos in here that have completed the puzzle, but it's a fucking Lego. It just doesn't quite belong. So yeah, I think that would be it.
That's really good, honestly.
Every once in a while, the brain does what it's supposed to do.
What's something you wish you could tell your grandmother right now if you saw her in person?
I'd probably just thank her. Because again, there was no hospital goodbye. There was that wasn't the situation that I was given. Right. But I think I would just thank her. For everything. There are a lot of questions I'd probably ask because there's some things that have popped up that I'm just like, oh no. I need information and everyone else is dead. But like if it was the one thing, I just thank her.
So the last question I have for you is...
It's the last one.
It's
Look
the
at
last
that. I'm so proud of me.
Good job. Look at you. No, she didn't even touch it.
I didn't even do it. I was real close for a second there and I'm like, nah girl,
you got it. Alright, so the last question I have for you is, what is an advice you can give someone who still has their loved ones around?
First, I'd like to think that everyone still has loved ones around, right? Even if you've lost people, there are still people who love you. Time, man. Make the time. Find the time. And it's so easy now, right? Because we've got this interwebs. Right. You can like, I mean, granted, Mima might not be on the internet. Mima, get Mima off the internet. It's not good for old people. But you'd be surprised how just saying hi to someone will like change their whole day. Or even if you're on like Instagram and react to something, just let people know that you're thinking of them.
For sure.
Right? I mean, if I had to give advice, also plan for funerals. They're real expensive. You'd be surprised how much that tiny ass piece of land cost me. I'd say reach out, say hi, and even just start thinking about like, are you good with if that person were not there the next day? Are you good with how you left it? Think about that for a second. You're like, oh fuck, I need to be calling some people. Get on their Instagram or send a smiley. They're gonna be like, the fuck you smiling at?
I just thought I sent you this.
Just because we good. Grief is funny that way, right? Because all of a sudden you're starting to think about like, oh shit, people die, and we know this though.
Yeah, right. We know this.
We're just like,
until it happens, it's like,
grief puts things in perspective for you in a lot of ways. You don't want to prepare for grief, right? You figure out and handle afterwards. But there are ways where you can learn how, when someone passes, how you celebrate them. And celebrate the impact that they had in your life, as opposed to just being devastated. You're gonna be sad.
Right.
You have to. Right?
Yes.
It'd be fucking weird. You lose someone like fundamental to you and you're just like, oh my God. But instead of being devastated, you start thinking about the impact that they had to you and you know that they knew it.
Right. Well, is there anything else you want to tell people?
Do good shit.
Yeah.
be happy, do gay shit.
I mean, you know, here and there.
Not here and there.
Here and there, you know, not always.
Every once in a while, meanwhile,
once in a while.
Rainbow show.
Yes.
Like,
isn't this beautiful though?
My fiance made it.
Yo, this is dope.
She's gonna be real thrilled.
She's like, ooh, yeah.
Talked about my crochet. This is what I will say. I have known you for a long time now, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh fuck.
I think since
before you could drink legally.
So I think I was like 19, 18. No, I was 19. I was 19 when I joined Zero. 26.
Ooh, bitch. Sorry. My blood pressure just went. You need to go get that checked. I've known you for a long time now, and I am so proud of you and your growth, and seeing you happy brings me joy. And I love talking to you, and you know I love you.
I love you.
And I'm just proud of what you're growing here. And I'll always have a conversation with you. But I'm always happy to see you succeed. And I'm glad I get to see you as you move to this chapter of success for yourself. 'Cause I remember 19-year-old Melissa.
Oh no.
And
she was some.
She was the life of the party, but I was already old and I was just like, the party needs to chill a little bit. I'm tired. It's past my bedtime.
You know, I lived my life. You know, it taught me a lot, and
I'm
very
glad
calm.
you're listening to the lessons life has taught you.
A lot.
Because there are some people who have gotten the same lessons and been like, you know,
still doing the
not
same
receptive.
shit.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah. I'm so happy I get to call you my friend.
No.
Although you came up in this bitch with mentor and made me feel real. You made my knees hurt with that. It's like, oh, my mentor. And I'm like, oh, my cartilage.
Well, you're a person that's always been there, you know, with
always.
So.
And I still will. It's a little far of a drive now. You gotta like, plan.
I'll give you that bad.
I'll give you my Google Calendar.
It's not that bad. So. No, honestly, you were the one that helped me build my resume. You know, I got my first job because of the resume. Like, come on, y'all. I was able to work for iHeart because of you. Dude. Come on, like you did so much for me,
and I still will.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Love you too. But yeah, nothing else. Is that it?
I don't know. You keep asking me to ask.
You never know.
I should add more stuff. I work on podcasts. You can find all our podcasts at blacklove.com/podcast and subscribe.
Yes.
Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you're liking all of Melissa's stuff. Make sure you keep watching for what she has next. I bet it's going to be great because I know Melissa. And if you want to connect with Melissa, you should hit her up on Instagram at MellyRod. Don't connect with me on Instagram.
No.
I don't know you. You're a stranger.
But I'll have the links down for Black Love podcast, so y'all can go and check it out. You know, there's a lot of great things that
they're good podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that just because they pay me.
Thank you once again for sitting down with me and being able to talk about this. You know, it's something that, of course, might be a little hard still to talk about. Maybe it's a little easier, but I appreciate you, you know, for sitting down and being vulnerable about, you know, things that you went through and talking to me. That's all. I love you too. But yes, like she said, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and comment. I'll be having her again. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be having her again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and much love. Peace.